Welcome to part 2 of Cannabis Conversations, what it's like to be part of the Connecticut Medical Marijuana Program. I'm going to introduce myself again. I'm Nancy Nurge, an adult nurse practitioner, and I am authorized to enroll people in the Connecticut Medical Marijuana Program. I'm an adult nurse practitioner. I've been working for over 10 years within the system, and over the last year, I've been working with my patients to provide them with the best medical marijuana programs that we can find. My goals for this presentation are to introduce you to the Connecticut Medical Marijuana Program, to talk about the qualifying diagnoses, to show you how to find a certifying doctor or APRN, what you can expect from your first visit, what it's like to enter into the state system, and what you're talking about with regards to costs and timing. Connecticut has certified certain doctors and APRNs that have applied and been accepted to certify patients eligible for medical marijuana. Currently, Connecticut has over 1,000 practitioners to work with patients to get their card. Finding one can be challenging as there is no list of providers. There are online searches that you can do or word of mouth. Dispensaries, I've often seen, also provide you with a list of local providers. The primary diagnoses I work with are rheumatoid and psoriatic arthritis, cancers, and PTSD. There are, however, 21 diagnoses that will qualify people for medical marijuana. I just attended the Connecticut Board of Physicians for Medical Marijuana, and they have now recommended that chronic pain with a supporting diagnosis be added to that list. I am hoping in the next month that will be approved and be added so that people with chronic pain can also receive the benefits. Now you have your diagnosis and you found your provider. So now you're going to make an appointment to go see them. My understanding, the cost of this appointment ranges from approximately $125 to $300. For your first meeting, you will need a list of your medication and the name of your primary care or specialist who is working with you on your qualifying diagnosis. If you're eligible, your information is entered into the state database and you immediately receive an email confirming that you have been entered into the program. The key here, especially for my more elderly patients, is you have to have an active email account to register for your card. While the eventual card is sent to you by mail, the only communications you have prior to that is through email. This initial email you get talks about how to set up your account. You enter into what's called a biz account, in which you put in your information, you put your diagnosis, and you also select a dispensary that you're going to use. At this time, I want to talk about the Caregiver Program. Many of my patients elect to have a caregiver. That means that person is able to go with you when you go and get your medical marijuana, and that person is also able to go and get your order when you need to pick it up. For some of my patients that are not ambulatory, this is an incredible program. The concern here you have to make sure you do is when you do get your card and the information that the caregiver is filled out and you apply, I think it's like a $25 fee in addition for your caregiver. But it's an incredible program for those people who feel they could use a second ear when it comes to registering. So when you get this email, what you're going to need to do is scan a copy of what's called your certification. And that's done through a driver's license, a passport, some official government-issued registry that allows them to see you're really who you are. The second has to do with a proof of residence, and that proof of residence is done through an official piece of mail or paper that shows that you are who you are and you live at a particular residence in Connecticut. A lot of my patients choose their phone bill. They can also use their insurance card from their car. And Connecticut has you fill out a form for which you'll need your information. You need to choose a dispensary. My advice here is to find one first. You're going to need a picture of yourself, even though they don't put a picture on your card now. You're going to need to scan a copy of your driver's license or passport and scan a copy of what's called proof of residence. This is in the form of a bill that has your name on it and has your Connecticut address on it. You can submit this form over the internet, or you can also go to a dispensary and have them work with you on it. The advantage of submitting the form yourself is speed. Some of my less computer-friendly patients, I recommend go to the dispensary, as there is nothing more frustrating than waiting to find that you submitted something in error. The annual cost of the state for your medical marijuana is $100. This is usually done online with a credit card, or you can mail it in with a check. Here's something you really need to be aware of. It can take up to 30 days to get an email back with a temporary card. The only exception for this is if you're on hospice, and then we apply for a special exception. You cannot make an appointment with a pharmacist at a dispensary until you have your temporary card. Once you get your email with your temporary card, you call the dispensary of your choice, and you make an appointment to meet with a pharmacist. I also suggest that once you have chosen a dispensary, you go on their website to see what products they have available. Many sites also have educational information on them. Caregivers, for some patients, it's important that they designate that caregiver. Their information is filled out with the practitioner who is entering your information when you initially apply for the card. And then they are filled out with regards to your biz account. There is a fee of approximately $25 if you choose to add a caregiver. Your registration, however, will be held up if the caregiver information is not entered. I want you to be aware that within our medical marijuana system, the maximum amount of marijuana you can have is 2.5 ounces. And this is for your use only, not for sharing or resale. What you can do while you're waiting for your card is the number one thing is education. I recommend 2 sites, again, healer.com and leafly.com. Both of these sites are geared towards patients and understanding of medical marijuana, what it can do for you, and how to use it. What can you expect when you get your card? First, you make an appointment with a pharmacist at the dispensary you chose when you set up your account. You go with your diagnosis, your symptoms, and what you want to work with so that cannabis helps relieve your symptoms. Remember my slogan, start low, go slow. More is not better. Achieving optimum results with minimum product is your goal. To live your life to the fullest by sleeping better at night, reducing inflammation and pain. The cost for medical marijuana can range from $50 to $200 or more, depending on what and how much you use. In Connecticut, as I said, there's a 2.5 ounce per month maximum. Again, for your information, because of the federal laws on banking, you need to go to your dispensary either with an ATM, because they have an ATM machine, a debit card, they have an ATM machine, or cash. They do not take credit cards or checks. An additional things that you need to be aware of. As a card holder, you are responsible for any changes of address and the annual renewal. The state does not send you a statement saying you're coming up for renewal. Technically, the first year is 11 months, as it can take almost 30 days to get your temporary card. While the renewal experience process has been expedited, with most card holders without any changes can get their renewal cards within days of reapplying. So you can choose to renew close to your renewal date. I want you to know that future shows I've lined up here are going to include next month a dispensary pharmacist who's going to talk to me and talk to you about what it's like once you go into a dispensary, what to prepare for, and what to expect. I also have a representative coming in the show after that from one of the 4 growers in Connecticut. These will talk to you about how we grow medical marijuana in Connecticut and all of the real restrictions that are over it to make it an incredibly safe product for you. I'm also going to be working with other patients who have cards and be able to share their experiences with you. What is it like to have a card in Connecticut? I hope you have found this information helpful, and I look forward to working with you as shows go on. I want you to know that a list of Connecticut medical conditions can be found at the portal connecticut.gov DCP Medical Marijuana Program. This can be searched on Connecticut Medical Marijuana Programs, and all of the information comes up. There's also there a list of all the dispensaries. My understanding is we started out with just a few, and now I believe we're up to somewhere between 15 and 16 dispensaries, which definitely makes it a lot easier for you to find one. I want to answer some of the questions that my patients have asked me with regards to the medical marijuana program. Number one, is it covered under insurance? The law does not require Connecticut insurers to cover medical marijuana. In New York, they tried to get it pushed through, but it never went through. So unfortunately, medical marijuana and all the costs associated with it are on a cash basis only. Can you use medical marijuana anywhere? No. The law prohibits ingesting marijuana in a bus, a school bus, or any moving vehicles, in the workplace or any school grounds, or any public or private school, dormitory, college, university property, any public place, or any place in the presence of someone under 18. It also prohibits the use of palliative medical marijuana that endangers the health and well-being of another person other than the patient or primary caregiver. So you can't share your stuff. We talked about this already. There is a maximum of 2.5 ounces of medical marijuana that any patient can have on hand at any particular point in time. This can be modified by your prescribing physician if you can prove that that is just not enough to treat those conditions that you have. Can a landlord refuse to rent to somebody or take action against a tenant solely based on the fact that the tenant is qualified to use medical marijuana? No, they cannot. You are protected under Connecticut state law. Can a school refuse to enroll someone solely based on the person is qualified to use medical marijuana? Again, they cannot. And this is probably the number one that I get asked. Can an employer decide to hire someone or decide to fire someone or otherwise penalize or threaten them based on their qualifications to use medical marijuana? In Connecticut, you cannot prohibit the use of intoxicating, you cannot fire somebody for using medical marijuana. But the caveat, just like using alcohol or any other prescription or non-prescription drug, if it impairs your ability to do your job, you can be fired for that. So you're not going to go to work high, just as you would not go to work drunk. So these are some of the caveats you need to do. The other one is with regards to federal jobs. It is my understanding that if you have a federal job, these do not apply, and you are unable to use or have a medical marijuana card. Unfortunately, the federal government has lagged behind a lot of the other agencies with regards to responding to the use of medical marijuana. What happens to you if your primary care physician or specialist refuses to allow you to use medical marijuana? The state cannot make any physician use medical marijuana. They cannot prohibit them from saying you cannot be my patient if you do. My concern, especially with all the new research, would be that you talk to your primary care physician or your specialist and have them understand about the new research that's out there and how it can help you. Then you need to make the decision as to whether or not that's the way you want to go with that primary care physician or with regards to those specialists that you're seeing for your conditions. When you go into the dispensaries, I want to go and explain what happens when you enter the door. Obviously, they are well secured. But one of the things I like about the Connecticut program is you meet with a certified cannabis pharmacist. And this pharmacist is able to work with you with what they have there and what they have with regards to treating the particular conditions that you want to do. We talked about dominant programs over the dominant strains over the last program, and those pharmacists are knowledgeable to be able to not only tell you about the strains and what they do, but how different types of ingesting, whether it's smoking, the tinctures, it's vaping, or what those will do to help you manage. I want to give you an example that I went over with one of my patients who was in pain from arthritis. We actually worked out 3 ways for them to do it. They would wake up in the morning and take a very low THC product with a high CBD, one that would invigorate them and get them going in the morning and reduce their inflammation during the day. Then, during the day, if they had acute issues, whether it was with regards to anxiety or pain, they had a vape pen there that they were able to discreetly use to take one little bit of to give them that ability to get over it. Then at night, before they went to bed, they would put tincture under their tongue, and that would give them a little bit more higher THC, which would help sedate them and give them that one final good night's sleep. So what the pharmacist will work with you on is what products that they have and how best to treat those particular symptoms that you're looking at. I want to thank you for joining me in this conversation about medical marijuana. I personally think this is probably one of the most important conversations that I've had with my patients. I'm thrilled to share with you a personal story about an 84-year-old woman who came to see me with horrible rheumatoid arthritis. She was alert. She was wonderful. She came in with her nephew who felt that medical marijuana could really help her out. We started her on the program in November. I didn't hear anything and followed up in January. I'm thrilled to tell you that not only is she off the 3 pain medications she was on, she has gone from being almost bedridden to doing chair yoga. Stories like that my patients tell me that it's happening and helping with them, have been incredible inspiration to me. I want to thank you for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you in future episodes. Thank you.